Ladies and gentlemen, and this is the second video of our second course week. I hope your airdrops are going well, but in the meantime, we have to upload our videos, and so you can follow up as soon as possible. My friends, now we are starting to discuss some mathematical concepts. Okay, so the conceptual framework is somehow finalized. Okay, I'm still trying to give you some concepts. I'm not going to do mathematics right now, but from now on, you're going to think that what I explain starting from now will have an accounting or mathematical implication, okay? So now you are going to see what is going on in accounting, what is going on in recording, what is going on financial statements, how they are prepared, okay? Everything is now starting. From next week, you will be facing with mathematics, okay? And again, I wish you luck about that. So now, this is the accounting equation, okay? So this is the substance of balance. So accounting is actually balancing the rights and obligations about an economic transaction. So when you enter into a transaction, there are two sides, okay? Always, this is the case. So if you purchase something, you're going to have it, but you're going to pay something. So there is something coming inside, but there is something going outside as well. So this inside and outside concept is materialized in the accounting equation, okay? So the inside, we have assets, okay? So actually, this is not a good definition, but I am trying to concretize, I am trying to conceptualize this in your minds, okay? Of course, there are technical definitions. For example, you can read it here. Assets are the economic resources owned by a business. Actually, this is not the formal definition. If we go to IFRS, you see that assets are the economic resources that has a future cash flow, potential future cash flow, and create rights and claims for the company. Okay. So, but in very simplistic form, assets are the things that are coming inside to you. So you have it. That's yours. Okay? So we are going to put it on the left-hand side of the equation. Assets, and it will be equal to the things that go outside of the company. Outside. So what I do mean here is that we pay something. We raise funds from somewhere, but we are going to pay interest, we are going to pay dividends, something else. So there will be something going outside from the company to finance our assets, what we own inside. So there are two types of financing activity here. The liabilities, it is the debt. It can be short-term or long-term. And there is the owner's equity. Okay, so it is the internal source of finance. Okay, so the liabilities are defined as the financial obligations or debts, and owner's equity is defined as the owner's claims on the business. So my friends, liabilities and owner's equity are together will be placed in the right-hand side of the equation. So at the end of the day, assets will be equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. You're not going to forget about this equation. At the end of the day, everything should be in balance. What you have inside will be equal to what you pay outside. Okay? Or what resources you have should be equal to the finance of these resources. So this equation is at the core. If you comprehend this equation, if you just conceptualize this very well, then the recording process will be very straightforward for you. Otherwise, it will be very tough. This course will be very, very difficult for you. Okay? So the assets are financed by liabilities and owner's equity. Assets are financed by liabilities and owner's equity. So the assets are your claims and rights. You own, it has a cost, it has a measurable, quantifiable item, and it has future cash flows for the company. You can generate cash flows by utilizing your assets. That's your own assets. But I mean, that's not you, that's your company. Don't forget the entity concept here. On the other side, the liabilities are the obligations, or you are going to pay for something. Okay? For example, you obtain a loan from the bank and you are going to pay the interest and principal on it. That's why it's a liabilities. So, okay, the cash, look, just think. You are a businessman right now. You just are a businessman who needs bank loan. You go to the bank as an owner and you're going to obtain funds for your company. You prepare some documentations, you are rated by the banker, and at the end of the day, you are entitled to obtain that loan. Just suppose that. Okay? And the bank granted you, let's say, 10,000 Turkish liras for that loan. And you have that money on the deposits of the bank. Okay? So your company now has 10,000 Turkish liras. So the company can consume it, can use it to purchase some materials, maybe office equipment, pencils, chairs, tables, okay? And the company owns that cash. Okay, the bank has granted some loan at an amount of 10,000 Turkish liras, and the company owns it. Look, it seems that there is one transaction here. Yes, it's one transaction, but it has two impacts on the accounting equation. Why? The 10,000 Turkish liras is an asset for the company because it's an economic resource. The company can pay something to buy something by that cash. So it's asset. The 10,000 will be placed on the left-hand side of the equation as an asset. So it's 10,000 right now. But it's a loan. It is a loan. It's a debt. You have signed a contract, a financial contract with the bank. What's that contract? You are obliged to pay the interest and principal to the bank at the maturity of the loan. So that's why it's a liability at the same time. So at the right-hand side of the equation, you have to write a 10,000 of liability as well. So by this means, 10,000 will be equal to 10,000. So what about owner's equity? No business about that. There is no impact on the owner's equity with this transaction. But there will be some other economic transactions that will have an impact on owner's equity as well. Maybe these three items will be impacted by an economic transaction: assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. But with this loan example, specific, very simple loan example, only assets and liabilities will be affected. And at the end of the day, the accounting equation will show the balance where the assets are 10,000 and the liabilities are 10,000. Okay? We are not going to cover the financial statement items now. What are financial statement items? Cash, accounts receivables, accounts payables, properties, plant and equipment. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just trying to make you understand the asset, liability, and equity concept. Forget about the items. I'm going to show what kind of items we have, but I am not going to teach you right now the exact name of the accounting items right now. We are going to be simplistic as possible. Just think about what assets are. Just think about what liabilities are. Just think about what equity is. Okay? Forget about accounts receivables. Forget about equity. I'm talking about capital. Forget about bank loan. Forget about properties. Forget about office equipment. Forget about cash, securities like that. Just think about assets, liabilities, and equity. Just know the three, okay? I'm going to use this next week. And this is our future, my friend. In this course, we are, after finishing the accounting equation concept, you are going to start with journalizing the records or accounting transactions. Then you're going to prepare the trial balances. You're going to prepare the adjusting entries. Then you are going to prepare the adjusted trial balance. Then you're going to prepare the financial statements. You will make the closing entries, and you will end up with the post-closing trial balance. Evet arkadaşlar, Türkçesini burada söylüyorum. Nelerle karşı? Bu dersin sizin hayatınızdaki yeri budur. Journalize. Yevmiye defter kayıtlarını yapacağız. Post. Yani bunları artık ledger'lara, yani büyük defterlere post edeceğiz. Trial balance. Geçici mizan hazırlayacağız. Adjusting entries. Düzeltme kayıtları atacağız. Accrual accounting gereği. Bunları anlatacağız. Sonra düzeltilmiş geçici mizanı alacağız. Tamam mı? Bunlardan, aslında bunlara biraz kesin mizan diyeceğiz ileride. Bilanço, gelir tablosu, nakit akım tablosu gibi finansal tabloları hazırlayacağız. Financial statement dediğimiz. Closing entries, kapanış kayıtlarını yapacağız. Ve dönemi kapatarak, bahsettiğim finansal tablo dönemini kapatarak ders dönemini de kapatmış olacağız. Evet. Yavaş yavaş bunlarla yüzleşmeye başlayacağız arkadaşlar. Önümüzdeki haftadan itibaren somut matematiksel işlemlerle. So what are financial statements? So you have to know these four. Arkadaşlar, bunlar size soru olarak ileride gelir. Hangi finansal tabloları biliyorsunuz? Size yüksek lisans mı yapacaksınız? Bunları bileceksiniz. Herhangi bir yerde de soracaklardır. Çok basic konulardır bunlar. Ancak ben size biraz ekstralar anlatacağım burada. Ve ilerleyen videolarda. Balance sheet. Let's start with balance sheet. The balance sheet lists all the entities' assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. as of a specific date, usually the end of a month, or a quarter, or a semi-annual term, or a year. The balance sheet is like a snapshot of the entity. That's why it's called the statement of financial position. My friends, balance sheet is a snapshot of the entity. It shows you the situation of the company as of a specific date. So you just take a picture of the company at that date. It shows what accumulated in the statements, in the assets, in the liabilities, and in the equity. What does a company own and what does a company owe? Okay? That's what balance sheet shows. And the other term, when you read the International Financial Reporting Standards, you're not going to see balance sheet term. It's called the statement of financial position. So this is a balance sheet sample. These are what we are going to confront with this class. It will start with current assets, then investments, PPE, intangible assets. At the other side, liabilities and ownership. Look, this is just like the accounting equation, isn't that? The accounting equation, remember, assets equals to liabilities plus owner's equity. Oh, look at the left-hand side of the balance sheet. It's assets. And suppose that there is an equal side at the middle. So the right-hand side will be the liabilities and owner's equity. That is the accounting equation, my friend. That's the balance. That's why this is called balance sheet. Okay? Accounting equation is the balance sheet. That's all. That's all, my friends. So you're going to be reminded by this in the next week. Okay? So you're going to read this. Assets. These are resources owned by corporations. Liabilities are owed by the company. Equity is the internal source of finance. It is the money that is put by the owners, and there are the retained earnings, which is not distributed to the investors. Okay, we are going to know this. We are going to be very familiar with these words. Okay. What about the income statement? And watch out the difference. The income statement is a summary of the entity's revenues and expenses for a specific period of time. Look, this is totally different from the concept of balance sheet because balance sheet was a picture. It was as of a specific date. However, the income statement is for a specific period of time. So balance sheet is a picture. It is a position, it is a situation, it is a stock. However, the income statement is a flow. It is about a period of time. Wow, what the hell is this? So you have to know this difference. Income statement is not a statement that shows a financial position. It is a financial performance statement. It shows the financial performance in a specific period of the company. If you hear something about financial position, you have to remember balance sheet. But if you hear something about the financial performance, you have to think about the income statement. Okay? Don't forget about this. So these are what you are going to prepare. It will start with the sales or revenue, then it will continue with the cost of goods sold, then you're going to calculate gross profit, then there comes the operating expenses, other expenses, general administrative expenses, and you're going to reach the net income, which we call the bottom line. The bottom line, your net profit or loss. Okay. And in the IFRS, you're not going to see a term income statement. You're going to see a term statement of profit or loss, or statement of comprehensive income. Okay. So the terminology is a little bit different in your textbooks and in the International Financial Reporting Standards. I'm going to show you a little bit later. So the income statement is composed of revenues and expenses, as you see, and at the end of the day, you're going to subtract revenues from expenses from revenues, and you're going to reach the net profit or loss at the bottom line. Then you have the statement of owner's equity, because when you earn some revenues and when you incur some expenses, you will generate some profits. You're going to distribute some of it. You're going to retain some of it. And at the end of the day, the owner's equity will have a change. So what is the impact of an economic event on the owner's equity? So here comes the firm goal here. So what is the net change in the owner's equity? That is, what is the net change in the stockholder's wealth? So this is a very specific information that we are going to deal with. Okay? So with the financial performance of the company during a period of time, what changed in the wealth of the owners? What changed? Did they earn a profit? Did they earn dividends? Did they withdraw some money? Okay? What are the losses? Something like that, okay? So you're going to prepare the statement of owner's equity as well. And to me, a very important statement of cash flows, okay? This shows the cash flows. Look, cash flows. When I contrast cash flows with accrual accounting, you're going to see the difference at that time. Accrual accounting is what accounting is dealing with it. For example, the profit is an accrual term. It's not about cash flows. It does not have to be, at least. So cash flow statement will focus on the cash flows only. It's not going to be related to unearned revenues or etc. Just cash flows. So what are the cash flows obtained from operating activities? What are the cash flows obtained from financing activities? And what are the cash flows obtained from investment activities? So under these three substantial headings, we are going to analyze the cash flows of the company. And we are going to differentiate the activities in a given economic transaction. So which one is the operating, which one is the investing, and you're going to construct the cash flow statement at the end of the day. It's a very hard, but very, very joyful statement, okay? So these are the summary, and this week, this is over. From next week, you will be thinking, why did I take this course? Maybe you are going to regret. Okay, this is a mandatory course, of course, but the real accounting starts next week. Please read what I share in the platform. Watch what I share on the platform. Please do that. Conceptualize what I am trying to explain. Then, with that theoretical conduct, we are going to now show our performance in mathematics in practice. Before finishing, let's jump to public disclosure platform here. This is not platform, where listed companies share their financial information for investors. I'm going to show you the financial statements. I'm going to try to find an international company. Let's say, okay, maybe Arçelik is one of the best. Find some financial statements, okay. I wish I find English ones, but I don't know. Okay, that's some video. Just bring it. Okay. Are there any English here? These are Turkish. Okay. Look, this is the financial report for the year end of 2019. Okay. Click on that. So unfortunately, this is Turkish, but if we have time, we would find the English version of it. Of course, I'm going to share some English versions starting from the next week because you have to know the English terminology in order to be successful in the exams and problem sets. But let me open this. Okay, so this is the financial statements of Arçelik Anonim Şirketi as of the period of 2019. Look, this is the, forget about the term consolidated right now, it's out of scope. But look, this is statement of financial position, finansal durum tablosu. It does not say bilanço. It does not say balance sheet. But because we apply international financial reporting standards in Turkey, we have to use the same terminology with IFRS. So they use statement of financial position. Look, as of a single date. Look, as of a single specific date. It is the end of 2019 and it is the end of 2018. So one can easily compare the 1 year assets, and these are current assets, non-current assets. Okay, so think about that. This is the left-hand side of the accounting equation. Then let me pass to the right-hand side of the accounting equation. This is the liabilities. It's the short-term, long-term liabilities. And at the end of the day, this is the owner's equity. Okay, so we are going to construct this. There are lots of items here. I am not going to deal with these single items here. Okay, don't deal with it. Cash and cash equivalents, accounts receivables, inventories, okay, financial securities, derivatives, property, plant and equipment. Forget about them. Just concentrate on assets, just concentrate on liabilities, and just concentrate on equities. Then there comes the statement of profit or loss. Okay, statement of profit or loss, which we know as the income statement, is a flow statement. Look, it does not specify a single date. It gives you the period as a whole. It's 2019. Look at the difference. 2019, but when you come up to the balance sheet, it is a single specific date. Okay? You have to know this difference. I'm going to ask, and you are going to answer. Okay? So this is a flow, and you have to know this income statement or statement of profit or loss in my course. Then this is the comprehensive income, statement of comprehensive. It's totally different. Statement of comprehensive income. I'm going to explain it later. This is not an income statement, actually. It's different. Okay? I'm not going to give the exact reason because that will mix up your minds. I don't want it right now. Then this is the statement of owner's equity. It shows the change in the owner's equity. It shows the change in the wealth of the owner's equities. Okay. Then at the end, you are going to confront with the statement of cash flows. Okay. As you see, it is also a flow document as of a period, not as of a single specific date. It groups the cash flows from operating activities here. Look, operating activities, işletme faaliyetlerinden nakit akışları, investment activities, yatırım faaliyetlerinden nakit akışları, investment activities, financing activities, finansman faaliyetlerden nakit akışları ve bunlar her birinin hazırlanış için bir mantığı var. Hepimiz bu dersin sonunda en azından bilanço ve gelir tablosunun hazırlanmasına hakim olacağız. Gücümüz yeterse, ruhumuz el verirse, öz sermaye değişim tablosu dediğimiz statement of owner's equity ve nakit akış tablosu dediğimiz cash flow statement'ı da yapacağız. Okay, my friends, see you next week. Okay, prepare yourself. Say farewell to your families.